Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Orange County Funding Corp meeting, which is the Finance Committee meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and welcome everybody here. I might note that, maybe Bill, please do the roll call.
Sure. Jeffrey Christ.
Here.
Dean Tanbury.
Here.
Linda Muller.
Here.
3 of 4 members present. Our chairman does have an excused absence. He's away at a conference. For staff, myself, Bill Fioravanti, Kelly Riley, and Marty Barras. We also have our general counsel here, Lena Sharetta, and our New York State monitor, Brian Sandvidge, and Mr. Billy Iverson, who's doing our audio visual.
Thank you, Bill. And I might point out that I'll fill in for Mark Green and lead the meeting if that's okay with both of you.
Absolutely.
And we do have proof of notice, which makes this meeting official.
Yes.
And I'd like to move on to the approval of the minutes from the December 18th meeting. Any additions, corrections, motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Motion by Linda, second by Dean. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried, thank you. Moving on to new business, and Shannon, welcome. Did you introduce Shannon?
I did not. Shannon, I'm sorry, Shannon. She hasn't joined us in a couple of months. Shannon Benisi, our external CFO from RBT CPAs. Sorry, Shannon. Thank you, John.
And I'd ask you to review the December 2024 financials, please.
Sure. So for the month of December, the Funding Corp had interest income of $164.13. And then if we look at expenses, everything is pretty consistent from prior periods. You'll see that the management fee was to catch up to for an accrual purpose at year end. So that's why it's higher than previous months. Your insurance expense is half of what it was the previous month because of where the policy ended and the new policies had not been received yet. Your professional fees there is just an invoice from Harris Beach for budgeting. And then you'll see bad debt expense recovery. So that's a negative, which means the Funding Corp got $500 on the old loans, which was previously written off. So you'll see that there. That's an additional income for the month. And then you had legal counsel of $693.50 for a total of $12,671.69 in expenses. So, you know, there's a loss again for the month. And then when you look at the totals for the budget annually, you can see that because the Funding Corp didn't have those closing fees and applications, that they ended up with a loss for the year.
Any questions on the financials from the committee or management? I think it's pretty much stuff we expected. The catch up on the management fee was just kind of completing the year.
Yes, because typically we're a month behind on the invoicing, but because of it being year end and the audit coming up, we had to make sure that we're working to get all the expenses back into the prior period that really relate to that period.
Thank you. Let's move on to December, January payables, please, and then we'll consider both of those items with the December financials for recommendation to the full board.
Would you like me to go over the cash balances first?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, please.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'll let you finish one thing first.
No worries. So the checking account had $185,000 in it, and then between the 3 CDs, there was $1.6 million. So cash and CDs is around $1.835.
Very good, and I might note in a
Right, now we
minute.
can pay it.
What's that?
Now we can debate.
Oh, okay.
Now we can do the
You want to do the CD that's expiring?
I think we usually do that separately, Bill.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna note one CD did expire, and we'll get to that in a couple minutes, so. Please, on the December, January payables, Shannon.
Normally Kelly does that, but
Oh,
I
I'm
can
sorry.
go through them.
Your name's
We do
here.
have her name next to it, yeah, but
Did Kelly do that?
yeah, if Kelly's
I can do that.
prepared, we'll have her do it, yeah.
Thanks.
There's nothing unusual here. We have the Bousquet hosting amount for $182.50. We have the Orange County IDA, that's the management fee that we're getting back into the IDA account. RBT is our bookkeeper, that's a normal fee, and William Smith is the liability renewable insurance that we paid.
And on page 8, anything particular there?
That's the management fee, that's the
Breakout of
11,000.
management
Oh,
fee.
okay, I got
Breakout
it.
of that.
And that's the one for December. Got it. Any questions, committee or management? I think we should make a motion recommending these to the board at our full meeting in a little while.
Yes, I agree.
Would anyone care to make that motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Dean, second by Linda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So the certificate of deposit, which expired a few days ago, we have a recommendation from our chair of the committee. Can you detail that, please, Bill?
Yes, I shared these rates with the chair of the committee while he was away. He and I spoke. He is in Florida right now. He was recommending that we go with 9-month because of our kind of laddering
Yes.
system we're doing with Lakeland Bank based upon the rates.
Mhm.
And we had discussed tentatively that 9-month, I think, at the previous meeting as well.
Correct. It was only, we were discussing the amount, I guess, right, for.
Oh, how much to put in?
That's correct.
Is that
Because-
still a question, Bill? If we need to hold some out? Good thought, Dean.
Yeah, we talked about,
Not right now on OCFC.
Okay, we're
We just
okay.
wanna make sure we have,
For idea.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Makes sense.
But right now, we're looking good with OCFC.
Okay, so that amount would be the same as what just matured?
600,000.
Yeah,
Right.
600 even,
okay.
Yeah,
And-
3.85% for 9 months,
a little different than it was the last time.
just a tad.
Good.
And the interest we add to our checking in that case.
Yeah, we usually round it out and
Is that what you want to do? Okay.
So, well, I would think keep it at 600. Unless you feel we just don't need it. That's a little more cushion. How much was the interest, do we know?
I don't know.
we don't know yet.
Yeah.
We usually find out
Oh,
once
okay,
we're closing it.
okay,
Yeah,
was
I
waiting
would
for
keep the
amount.
interest in the checking account if that's okay.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I like
Little
that.
added
Yeah.
value.
Yep.
So I think we're considering going with Lakeland for 9 months at 600,000. That same amount that just matured from Lakeland.
For 3.85.
Correct.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by Linda,
Second.
second by Dean, and that's to go with Lakeland on the 9-month, which is showing 3.85%. And this would be a further recommendation to the full board, I believe.
Correct.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, and I'm in favor, so that motion is carried. Moving on to the approval of recurring bills and insurance invoices. Bill, please.
So this is something that we've requested the last 3 or 4 years. And these next couple items are really in the interest of trying to pay our bills on time, reduce late fees, close that cycle time. We have always requested that you authorize us in advance for the year, for the calendar year, to
Oh,
pay
okay.
all recurring bills, rent, utilities, everything that's pretty consistent in monthly billing and amount. So we're looking for that. We also are asking this year if you can authorize us to pay insurance invoices. Of course, you approve everything after the fact as well and review them carefully. That will not change. But we've had a couple issues. The insurance invoices are a very short turnaround time. We'll get a bill and sometimes it's due in 2 days. And of course, we want no lapse in coverage or any issue there. So we're asking for you to include that in your authorization for us to pay those bills in advance and again, with your approval after the fact on those matters.
And staff would review those bills when they come in
Absolutely.
before they're paid, so.
Exactly.
Right, I'll make the motion to have you approve the recurring bills. So we see them all the time anyway, they come through, everything is here after the fact anyway, so.
And that's for the whole year of 2025, including insurance
That's correct.
invoices.
For 2025.
So the motion is for approving the recurring bills and the insurance invoices, correct?
That's correct.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion on this motion? We have a first and a second. It's a recommendation to the full board. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. I'm in favor. Motion carried. This next item, did you want to table, Phil?
I thought I would introduce it to
Yeah,
this group.
sounds good.
Because Mark has had a little more exposure than the rest. Let me share my screen so that Shannon can see it as well. This machine is very slow for some reason, I'm discovering, so bear with me, it's not this slow. So this is ramp.com. You'll recall that we had a couple of demos. We had a demo from Ramp, and before that we had Bill.com. It's really just an effort to a few things. Again, avoid late payment charges, reduce the turnaround time on paying our bills because of that. And it also, if we can eliminate checks, there is potential cost savings with RBT, who cuts our checks right now, but Shannon and I have been talking, we may balance that with some other services on their part, but it would, in theory, provide some savings. And it reduces the opportunity for check fraud. It will be using less checks, which I know Jeff and I have talked about with his role at the bank. It's a major threat constantly. So we were looking at Bill.com, which I will say that Shannon's more familiar with, because her firm has worked with that. Ramp is a newer product. Bill.com did have a number of fees associated with it. Even though we'd be saving some money, it would cost us a few $100s in the calculations we did every month. Ramp is free. They're trying to promote some other areas of service here. This is what the dashboard looks like. This is mine. I went to my inbox here to get to these 5 items, and we're putting a few in at a time so that we can test this and make sure everything's working, because the payments are made generally via ACH. These are some bills that are coming in that are for my approval. I am one of the approvers, and I just click on it. Forget this. You can't just
Who
tap
would
this
be
one.
the other approvers?
Well, that's what is up for discussion here.
Okay.
Is again, this normally is instantaneous, but this machine's just a little bit slow right now. But you see the bill, and Marty enters all this as our master of accounts payable. So you see the details on this, where it would come from, and then the approval structure, which we have the ability to manage and change, customize for each invoice or for each vendor, however we want to do
Okay.
it. So we can add other levels of protection. And then you see the invoices right here for your review. Now this is obviously the desktop version on my laptop, but there is a Ramp application for your phone, and it comes through the exact same way. I will say it's very seamless and very easy to just review, look at detail, and approve. Of course, you would have to contact me or Marty or Kelly if you wanted to discuss, you had questions about it, but it is right in front of you. The question is, and this is what I hope for us not to settle today, because I would like Mark to be part of this discussion, but is to ask you if we would want to have some sort of guidelines set up so that there could be approval before this meeting, that we could either have 2 designees, we could have multiple, people that are reviewing it, and it could be sent to you, and they could review and approve them. And if we had whatever we decide as a group, which I want the board to bless as well, we could have X number of approvals that authorize the payment to go out, and it goes out. The worst case, and I don't think it's a terrible case, is if we don't get that complicated and we review these bills in this meeting like we do, and even if you did that and I got all the blessing at that point, then we can fire off the payment right away without turning around the checks and mailing the checks. So there still is a reduction in that turnaround time. It doesn't fully utilize the capabilities of the system, but we have our own needs here and our ways to improve it. So I wanted to introduce you to it, let you get a glimpse at it, any questions you have, but I was hoping to ultimately table this until our February Finance Committee meeting and have Mark discuss it as well. In my conversations with Mark, he had the understanding that that I have authorization to pay anything up to $5,000, which we have approved in the past. We have authorized that in the past, and he kind of was under the assumption that we're just bless everything after the fact. That's not how we've been doing it in practice. We still bring these bills to you, the non-recurring ones, let you approve them, and the payment doesn't go out until they are approved by this committee. So even though I may have that authorization, it's not how we've been conducting ourselves. So again, I want to plant the seed. If anyone wants to ask me about it or take a look at it or take a look at the app or something like that in between, let's talk about that, and I'll help get you set up.
We also we need to finalize if the authorization is Can you or can't you?
I think we may need to
Yeah.
reauthorize that, if anything, if that's
Yeah.
what you wanna do. Because that was done in the past, probably 2 years ago. I recall the last time I was doing it. I don't think we did that last year, but I recall reauthorize that.
This would be for all buildings then, or?
Using this, yes, we really are looking to put almost everything through it. There are a few things that we could pay by check, and we even can have ramp pay by check if need be, if they don't wanna go through ACH, but the goal for the most part, as I go through them, I think we do pretty much everything through this service. We've got
So,
great records, it
this
integrates
is-
with our QuickBooks, so it's pretty seamless in that regard.
This is Ramp, what was the other company?
Bill.com.
And which one do you prefer?
Well, ramp because of the cost and because so far, I will say we have to learn a little bit more on our own than I'm guessing it would have been. The impression we got with Bill.com, that maybe a little more hand-holding. So Marty has loved looking up the videos and the tutorials, and kind of being self-taught in this regard. But we've gotten there, really. So, and everything that we tried has worked, pretty well, and it seems quite seamless. So I'm confident this will work for us. But how we wanna use it, and if we wanna use it to its ultimate capabilities, is for discussion.
Go ahead, Marty.
I just want
Please.
to add one thing as a safeguard. You will always be able to see who approved what.
Yes.
So you can't not see it. Kelly and I will not be approvers because it's a, what's the word, or separation of duties.
Yes.
Power.
But you will always see who approved what and
Okay.
when.
So since you're saying, how is it for you to enter these? I mean, it's pretty,
It's easy.
just like as opposed to
It's
paying
easy.
it, whatever.
It's as easy as uploading the invoice, and then Ramp will copy everything, and because Ramp is already hooked up to QuickBooks, it'll take all the data from QuickBooks, and you can see on my payables report what went through Ramp
Nice.
and what didn't.
And Shannon, I mean, this is the ramp is the one that you're recommending to your,
Not the one she's
No?
familiar, is
Okay.
familiar with. They've worked
Okay.
more
No,
with
we
Bill.com.
did a different company, but they all operate the same way, and I was there on Monday, and we kind of walked through some of this, and Marty actually made a change on her end that flowed real time right through QuickBooks for an account classification change. So it seems pretty seamless. Also, whatever is getting scanned into this system, so you'll see this invoice here. The nice thing about this is now it shows up also in your QuickBooks.
okay, the actual
So
invoice
they-
does.
Yeah, so the invoices are now being linked to QuickBooks, which
Good.
didn't happen previously.
Good.
And we do have a call scheduled with Shannon and our ramp representative on, I think, Monday the 27th, so we're gonna go over and make sure she's fully up to speed and answers
Okay.
any for questions or concerns she
So
may
there's no
have.
charge for Ramp now.
No.
Will there be a charge?
The one no, that's
No?
what they tell us. The one requirement is, and they're competing, they've told us frankly, that they're competing with American Express on some of the services.
Okay.
It includes a corporate card. They require us to have one of their corporate cards and to use it.
Oh,
So, which, Marty, I think you used it today, right? So we have been, starting slowly using it, making sure everything's smooth, and now we're using it a little more readily.
Okay.
You have something else to add, Marty?
Yeah,
Please.
so when I use the Ramp card, it automatically uploads on the Ramp app and it approves, it pulls the money out. But if you look at the charge I made, I make sure to upload also the receipt.
mhm.
And it'll say, Board of Directors, meeting supplies.
Got it.
So that's like a debit card. If it takes the
I
money.
see what you mean, but I
Yeah.
don't,
It
I
approves
ask the same thing.
right away.
Well, I think it would have to approve, it's a credit card, as soon as you make the purchase, right, with any credit card,
But does it pull
it's
the money?
approved.
Typically, no.
No, I don't think
That's
it
what
pulls the
credit
money
card
right
is
away.
about,
I
yeah.
think it goes into
Probably.
QuickBooks, but I don't think it pulls it. I think
Okay.
we're
So then it's
paying
a
it
credit card,
separately.
not a debit card.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
So I guess that would be a question that I guess, once you use the card, if you use the card, it gets approved right away, like any other credit card, right? You make a credit card, it goes through, but does it come out of the account, or you have to
Oh, we could check that, we
Yeah,
can go
just
into the
read-
Chase
yeah,
account and
okay.
see if it's come out or not.
correct? It's a credit card.
And again, in my defense, self-taught up to this point because of
No defense.
timing.
No
There's no
defense
defense, that's what
necessary.
I'm saying,
You're
there's
good.
no defense, what do you say?
put us
We'll
in.
confirm that about how
Yeah.
the card works also,
And
just to triple check that, but
Be good to have Mark in the loop on this as well.
definitely. But I wanna give you some exposure to it.
One
and see
last
what
thing really
capabilities.
quickly, we actually have a meeting scheduled with Shannon, because she actually knows what questions to ask
Good.
about integration and how it affects QuickBooks, so that's gonna happen, and we'll have a better understanding, like I said, because she'll know which questions to ask.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Okay.
Anything else on this subject? Anything else to come before us today?
Is it on the agenda for OCFC
If
Finance?
not, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
By Linda, second by Dean, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
About a few seconds then?
Yeah, we off for a minute?
Hey, Bill,
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Orange County IDA Finance Committee meeting for January 15th. The time is 4:27. I'll call the meeting to order. And roll call, please, Bill.
Jeffrey Christ.
Here.
Dean Tamburri.
Here.
Linda Muller.
Here.
3 of 4 committee members present. Our chairman is excused. He's away at a conference, Mark Green. For staff, myself, Bill Fioravanti, Kelly Riley, Marty Barras, our external CFO, Shannon Manisi from RVT. We have our general counsel, Lino Sharetta here, our New York State monitor, Brian Sandvich, and our AV consultant, Billy Iverson from Acquisitions Marketing.
Thank you, Bill. And since our committee chair is absent, I will lead the meeting if that's okay with both of you.
Yes.
We'll have a quorum of the Finance Committee meeting. And proof of notice is here in our packet to document that proof. And moving on to the minutes for the December 18th Finance Committee meeting. Any corrections, additions, a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Linda to approve.
Second.
Second by Dean. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, and I'm in favor. We'll move into new business, the consideration of December 2024 financials. Shannon, please.
Sure, so for the IDA in the month of December, there was $19,000 from the management fee coming from OCFC, and then some interest earnings, so a total of $19,290.14 in income. If we look at the expenses, a couple of things I'd like to point out. Professional fees is on the higher side than it tends to be. That was due to an invoice received from Harris Beach.
Those are our, pardon, I just chime in, that's what you authorized last time when we disputed those bills, so that's paying those. Sorry, Shannon, thank you.
That's absolutely okay. And then if you look at the Ankin, New York State Monitor, that's for the other attorney to go and meet and have discussions with the monitor, so we're classifying it there as well to keep all of those expenses together. Under marketing and PR, there was 2 months of acquisition marketing, and then $2,250 for D&M signs. So that's why that's higher than normal.
That's our new sign on the outside.
Mhm.
And we did have double billing. They're usually not culprits, although he's here today. But they didn't bill us last month, so we got double
Okay.
there. We have a
Yep.
couple of those,
Mhm.
including the radio spots.
Yep. And then membership and events include New York State EDC conference and the membership renewal.
Yes, for New York
If
State
you go down
EDC.
to legal counsel, that's all for the general counsel, and I believe that's September through November.
Yeah, and that's especially high because that was the end of Bousquet Holstein, Susan Katzoff's time coming off, so they caught up on a lot of bills and hit us with a number of invoices. Those lawyers, you know?
Easy.
The shovel-ready program was Brownfield's assessment.
That was our payment to RF Khan for his work.
Yep. Your salaries are higher than normal due to the approved increase at a previous meeting for year-end catch-up.
Deferred comp.
And then something that's not normally on here, the annual depreciation expense is on here, because we're trying to do everything for year-end. That's not normally budgeted for because it's not a cash item, it's just a book item, for the audit purpose. And then you'll see a new item down below, it's loss on disposal of assets. So Bill went through the listing of all the IDA's assets and determined what really was in possession, what's no longer in use or it's been disposed of, so we adjusted for all of that for the audit that's coming up. So a total of expenses, and you end up with a loss of $119,000 for the month. But overall, you did end up with a profit, so. No, you ended up with a loss, I apologize, I was looking at the wrong column.
Would have liked to have had.
So you had $811,000 in actual income, which was more than what was expected by the budget, so. And I think part of that, well, most of that is due to the management fee income, which was not originally budgeted for.
Right. We had a recovery in there too.
Yeah, small recovery, yeah. Because we've written off all those COVID loans and we're still getting small payments from some of them and we're covering that bad debt. in those cases.
I think I was referring to the insurance recovery
Oh,
up top in income.
oh, yes, okay, right, sorry.
Any questions so far? Let's move on to the cash balances, please.
Sure. So there was $274,000 in the main operating account. There is $47,533 in escrow funds that are not that of the IDAs, and they're maintained in separate accounts. And then just shy of $9 million in the CDs, so $9,221,000 in cash and CDs.
And we'll consider the CD that matured later in the agenda. If we're good with that, we can move on to December, January payables and have Kelly do that.
Pretty much a lot of it is the reoccurring, the boost gain hosting is a little bit higher than normal because of all the bills that they accumulated before they ended their relationship with us. Everything else is pretty much the same. We have the William A. Smith, that was the liability insurance payment that we did. And also the Public Policy Institute of New York, that was a contribution, the economic blueprint competitiveness report, is $5,000. But other than that, all the rest of them are pretty much the same reoccurring.
How often do we have the premium on the professional liability insurance?
It's a yearly,
Okay, so that's annual.
yeah.
Questions? I'd suggest a motion to recommend approval by the full board at our meeting later today for the December 2024 financials as well as the December, January payables.
And I'll make yes, and I'll make a motion to approve
The financials and the
financials
payables
and, yes, and the recurring
for
bills.
December and
For
January.
December
Yep,
and January.
I'll second the motion.
thank you. Any other discussion on those topics? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm in favor, motion carried. Certificate of deposit, similar to what we discussed in OCFC Finance Committee, Bill?
You see what's maturing is a $5 million CD, 12-month CD from Lakeland. I will say that when we reinvest it, I would like to take a little bit more to have in our checking account for a little more padding. We've had a little issue with some of our billing, including frankly the monitor billing, where it's just, we need to keep a little more in there.
I think we discussed that at last month's meeting as
Yes.
well, and Mark recommended that. Do you have an amount that you're thinking?
The other thing is we have another request that's coming in, from the city of Middletown that we'll discuss next. I don't think we're gonna be paying all that at once, and we do have another CD that's maturing late March. So I don't think we need too much, but I was thinking between $250,000 and $500,000 to keep in the checking account.
I would think we should play it on the cautious side.
I agree, that's what I was recommending.
So maybe $4.5 million reinvested.
I think that makes sense.
Yes.
Keep 500,000 in checking.
Yep.
Or you could do 250 now and then do another 250 when the next CD comes due, if you don't need all 500,000 within the next 2 months.
Yeah,
It's just 2
that's the question, later, March.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know how the cash flow looks.
Well, that makes sense.
I think
if
with
it's-
250 we can get to March for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why don't we round it up at
Okay.
300? You okay with that?
4.7.
Yeah, so listen, that's a compromise, right? You wanna go on the cautious side, so hey.
Yeah.
I'm even more cautious, but that's okay, I'll yield.
Oh, okay. So we could use a motion to recommend reinvesting with Lakeland, 9-month, 3.85%, and $4,700,000.
Correct.
Correct.
Would anyone care to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on the CD? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
On the aye, motion carried. And how do you wanna handle the electronic payments?
I'll table that one, but right
Okay.
above it, we do have the recurring bills and
Oh, I'm sorry.
invoices.
Yes, I'm
So for
skipping over it.
OCIDA,
Yeah.
we'd love your authorization to pay all recurring bills and insurance invoices that come due.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second by Dean, motion by Linda. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Motion carried. And we'll table the electronic payments to vendors, since we discussed that in Funding Corp Finance Committee. And we do need to discuss employee compensation, and I would suggest a motion to go into executive session to discuss that, and we will, after that executive session, come back into the regular committee meeting and make any decisions that we see appropriate or recommendations. That sound good?
Yep, good motion.
Make a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of reviewing staff.
Compensation.
And reviews.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. We'll go into executive session. I would ask Bill to stick with us for the moment, and I think
Let Marty and Kelly go.
Marty And everybody, I would ask for a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll make the motion to come out of executive session.
I'll second that.
Second by Linda, and this is for the Orange County IDA Finance Committee. And we have a motion to come out of executive session. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're out of executive session, and we would like to make a motion to recommend to the full board that compensation for each of our 3 staff members be increased by 5%.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dean.
Second,
by
I'd
Linda.
just like to note that that 5% was already budgeted for this,
Good
for
point.
this year.
Fine. With that, you can make the motion on that point.
So does he need to amend the motion?
Nope.
Okay.
You've already conditioned it, so just make a motion.
Very good.
All in favor with that
Yeah.
condition?
Yes, all in favor with the condition that Linda just pointed out.
Aye. Yes.
You're in favor? I'm in favor. Motion carried. And I believe that completes our business for IDA
Let me
Finance.
say thank you on behalf of the staff.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your support, really, and your belief in us. Thanks.
You're welcome. Motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Dean, second by
There you
Linda.
go.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.